although the Russians made clear that they have an interest in this ship and that they did not want the U.S. to stop and board the ship, the U.S. made clear that it would do that. For quite some time now, Venezuela and Russia, China, Iran, and others have been using ghost ships, in other words, ships without national flags, and oftentimes sailing without transponders, to transport black market petroleum on the high seas. In other words, remove that petroleum from Venezuela and take it to customers around the world. This is a trade in sanctioned oil, in oil designated by the U.S. government and others, and for the United States, it's considered an illegal form of transport. And so the U.S. has been looking for ways to interdict this kind of transport of petroleum. Now, because of the significant military presence that it has in the Caribbean and elsewhere, it's capable of conducting both interdictions, stopping ships in the Caribbean and on the high seas, boarding those ships, investigating the crews, the captains, and the cargo, and then determining what ships will be confiscated and what ships will be allowed to leave. And this is it's a dramatic increase in pressure on the Venezuelan government and oil industry, but probably a necessary one given the level of illegal activity that was taking place. Well, remember, this oil tanker was first spotted in the Caribbean leaving Venezuelan ports. At that moment, it was not flagged, or actually, I should say it was flagged under the nation of Guyana. It evaded efforts to stop and board it and sailed into the Atlantic. It was only then that it changed its flag to a Russian flag. So from the point of view of the U.S. Coast Guard and U.S. law enforcement agencies, this remains a vessel under Guyanese flag, not under a Russian flag. And although the Russians made clear that they have an interest in this ship and that they did not want the U.S. to stop and board the ship, the U.S. made clear that it would do that. It would stop the ship and would board it, and in this instant confiscate it because of its trade in black market oil. It's potentially a moment of confrontation with Russia, but I think the administration is trying to show the Russians and others clearly that this kind of behavior will not be accepted. So far, it has not. It has protested, and it sent, according to the press, a Russian submarine and other ships to shadow the tanker. So the potential for a conflict or a confrontation was there, but it has not happened at this point, and I don't think it will.